Alabama. So just want to wish him a speedy and complete recovery from the COVID virus. I spoke with Coach Saban recently. We both talked about how much we've learned about this situation and some of the challenges that have come with it. And I know he's been extremely vigilant and has put a great deal of thought and effort into the care of his team and players. And he shared that with me. And we both talked about things that we've done and have been helpful and so forth. And so, as I said, just want to wish him the best from all of us here in the organization. We're looking forward to getting back on the field today. It's we had certainly a lot of meeting time, WebEx meetings, and things like that. But it's always important to get back on the field and to start to rebuild some of our fundamentals and execution that are so critical. So we'll look forward to that today and tomorrow and throughout the week, and look forward to to playing on Sunday as well. So we continue to press forward with as much safety and vigilance as possible in our whole approach to football and all the things that surround it, our families and the safety of everyone involved here, players, staff, organization, and so forth. So we learn things every day, and we continue to try to take steps to put everybody's safety at the very top of the list, and at the same time, try to accommodate the competitiveness or competitive aspects that we need to perform on the field. So it's definitely a balance there, but we've got to put first things first.
We only have two questions at this time. We'll start with Mike Giardi, followed by Megan O'Brien.
Morning, Bill. You've had 4 different guys lead your team in rushing over the first 4 weeks. No team in the NFL has that this year. I'm just curious what that says about the level of talent and depth, not only in your running back room, but the performance of your offensive line as a group.
Yeah, well, we have a lot of confidence in our, in our backs. All the guys that carry the ball, receivers, quarterbacks, tight ends, whoever they might be. So, but our backs have been in a position that we've had good depth at for a number of years. At least on paper, we ran into some depth problems a couple of years ago, but generally speaking, a high quality of at that position, and so feel like we have it now. And I think that depth, the competition is good for our team. In the running game and the passing game, in terms of depth and being able to have players on the field that can give you a high level of performance with little bit different style and skill set. So that's really been let's say a luxury for us. And offensive line's done a very commendable job this year, considering the number of changes and adjustments that we've made in the first 4 games. Hopefully that can settle down here going forward. But whatever it is, we'll deal with it and do the best we can. But it's a hardworking group, and they continue to make steady improvement from the beginning of camp, through all the practices and the 4 games that we played.
Do you believe that depth and talent at the running back room kind of makes you more difficult to defend because you can rotate fresh bodies in there, and each guy has a little bit of their own special skill set?
Yeah, I think I mentioned that. I think that they do have different skills, and we have many talented players in that group. What other people think of that in terms of defending us, I think you'd have to ask them. But I like the depth and the quality that we have at that position.
Next question, Megan O'Brien, followed by Phil Perry.
Hey, Bill, I was just wondering what's been your impression of the way the rookies have handled this season? On one hand, they're adjusting to life in the NFL, but on the other hand, this season's been far from normal. And I was just curious what you've picked up on the way they've adapted.
Yeah, Megan, you're certainly accurate in saying it's been, a challenging season for them. And I think they've, tried to do the best they can. It's new for all of us and new for them, but I think they've taken a responsible approach to it and, have continued to, work hard and get better. They're further behind than, any rookie group that I've ever had before based on the off-season situation uh, and that rolled into training camp too. So they've got a lot of ground to make up to be competitive with players that just have a lot more experience and have had a lot more training than they have. But they're working hard to be competitive, and I'd say that our coaches and other members of the organization have spent extra time with those guys to try to help them, and not just on the field and on the football side of it, but also on the life skills side of it as well. And coming to New England and adjusting to professional football and so forth. So they've done their part, and I feel like organizationally we've tried to support them probably more than we ever have, just because of the circumstances that you alluded to.
Next question, Phil Perry, followed by Doug Kine.
Hey, Bill. Le'Veon Bell is a player that you've spoken of pretty highly in the past, and he recently became available. I'm curious just your impressions of him as a player, preparing against him for as many years as you have, and you just talked about all the depth you have at running back. Is that a position where you would still consider adding somebody, or do you feel like your depth is such that you're pretty well set there?
Yeah, Phil, I wouldn't be able to really talk about anybody that's not a member of our team now, so I have to pass on that one. Whatever I've said about Bell before on the record is, I stand by that for sure.
Just to kind of follow up, Bill, more generally, you did mention, a couple of years ago you guys ran into some depth issues at that running back spot. Is that something that you've tried to keep in mind since then? Knowing how challenging it was to kind of push forward. I think, you mentioned it before too. You had a receiver playing running back at points for you. How critical has it been to keep that position well stocked for your offense?
Right. Well, I mean, you always want depth, and you can't have as much depth as you want at every position. You have to sacrifice, something somewhere, based on the roster size. So, there's a balance there between the number of players that you have and the quality of players that you have. Sometimes you have, let's call it, too many players because quality's there, and sometimes you don't have enough players. And what depth looks like on a board and what it looks like in August and what it looks like in October and November sometimes are two completely different things. And so which players are actually able to get out there and play and perform versus some names on a board or on a chart is quite different. So it's something you have to constantly evaluate and stay on top of and plan for, because you never know when you're going to need players at every position, not just that one. So Nick Caserio and Dave Ziegler and their staffs do a great job of staying on top of all the personnel throughout the league, and kind of what our next potential options would be depending on what we were looking for at every position. But even a position at an individual position, there could be two or three different options at that position based on the need that you had. So try to stay on top of it and continue to monitor the depth. It's where we are today and where we were last week and where we might be in a few days could be completely different. So it's just something that you have to constantly monitor.
Next question, Doug Kine, followed by Mike Reese.
Hey, Bill, obviously we got to see Gunnar Olszewski make a comeback last week. What kind of improvements did you see from him over the course of the summer and then even into, recent times?
Yeah, well, we've spoken about the rookies from last year at other points, and I'm not sure if his name came up uh, in that conversation or not, but like the rest of them, I think he's certainly improved both physically and in terms of his rehab and conditioning, which started last year when he went on injury reserve during the season, and then as a player with a year of experience, even though it wasn't a full year of on the field experience, his experience in the system and in the league, I think gave him a big jump in terms of what he needed to do personally, from a training standpoint, from a technique and skills improvement, and also just knowing how the rest of the league is, what to anticipate in terms of coverages and um, kicking situations and so forth. So he's definitely a much better player and much more experienced and aware player than he was last year, and I think that's shown up through the course of camp and in the game that he played in last week. So it's good to have him back, and hopefully he'll be able to uh, you know make an explosive play for us along the way here.
Next question, Mike Reese, followed by Bob Sosa.
Good morning, Bill. With Cam Newton coming off the COVID list yesterday, do you expect a regular workload for him at practice today?
Yeah, well, we'll have to see how it goes, Mike. We haven't had an opportunity to do much here in the last 10 days or so. Been on the field really one time, so we'll just have to see how things go here, and that just that's with everybody. It's not specific to any individual player, but just in general, we've talked about kind of getting back into things and evaluating a little bit as we go, and we've talked about that as a coaching staff, and I think we've just got to have a good awareness and feel for practice and see where everybody is. Are they where they were the last time we practiced regularly, or do we need to make a little bit of an adjustment there? So we'll just have to see.
And sort of same topic, different player. Do you anticipate Stephon Gilmore practicing today?
Well, he would have to be cleared first.
And final two questions, Bob Sosa and Andrew Kelly.
Thanks, Stacy. Good morning, Bill.
Bob?
Bill, at the end of training camp, it seemed this year there was less movement among players, waiver claims, and so forth. It seems like players, stayed with their organizations, went to the practice squad and whatnot. About this time every year, we're looking ahead at the trade deadline, and I'm wondering, in the circumstances this season, whether it's the uncertainty day to day, hour to hour for teams with their personnel, whether it's the seventh spot now, an extra playoff spot that maybe gives an opportunity for a team to be in longer contention for the playoffs. Is there a sense of what kind of movement there may be? Do you think that the factors this year may make things different than they've been in the past when it comes to the trade deadline?
Yeah, no, that's an interesting question, Bob, and not sure I know the answer to that. We'll have to see how that unfolds, but you're right. There was much less movement at the end of training camp, and I would say even the movement now has been restricted, and it's been restricted even further in terms of bringing players in from outside the organization, whether that's in any capacity. So that process now is really about a week before you could actually get them onto the field. So that changes things as well. Would that affect the trade deadline? I mean, I don't know. It might, but maybe it's a longer view than that. I'm not sure. So it's a good question. We'll Well, to see how much activity, there is or isn't. Certainly are a lot of unknowns, going forward, not just this year, but, even in the next year relative to team building and salary cap and so forth. So I think that may have everybody with, a little less ability to really plan things out the way they want to do them, and that may be causing some hesitation as well. So, but I think you're certainly seeing more players stay with the teams that they're on, and teams using those players as depth. The injury reserve rules this year and the practice squad expansion have given teams more of an ability to do that, and I think that we're certainly seeing that play out.
And just a quick follow-up, given the status of your current situation, you were preparing for Denver last week. This was supposed to be a bye week, but obviously you've had so much to deal with football matters and non-football matters, and you're preparing for Denver again in what was supposed to be a bye week originally. Does that make it more difficult to take stock of your team at this point in time? Would you normally use the bye week to kind of do that, more so than any other week?
Well, certainly, yeah, it does. I think it's a little harder this year to, in your words, to analyze your team just because of the number of moving parts and, again, the way that things are configured this year. Again, it's the injured reserve, the practice squad availability. There are a lot of things there that change not only our team but the teams that we play very much week to week as well. So, I'd say it's a little bit harder this year to take that long-term view of team analysis and so forth. Just again because of the number of changes and adjustments that, again, not only our team but other teams have made so far in the season, and I think there's probably a good reason to think that it'll continue that way to a certain degree. So I think to me we're much more in a week to week or a shorter term window, a 2 to 3 week window relative to getting players back and so forth than what we would be in a normal situation.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm going to apologize to those I didn't get to, but I'm going to go ahead and end it there. Thank you very much, Coach.
Okay, great. Thank you.
We're changing the way we run with contactless ordering, drive-thrus, curbside pickup, and delivery. So you can still get your favorites, and the only thing you have to touch is your phone. Order on the Dunkin' app. America runs on Dunkin'.
In New England, we are resilient. It takes hard work to earn respect. Sometimes it takes decades. And it always takes someone being on your side.
Ready or not.
Gillette ProGlide and ProGlide Gel. 5 blades and a pivoting flex ball designed to get virtually every hair on the first stroke while washing away dirt and oil. So you're ready for the day with a clean shave and a clean face.
For over 60 years, this team has transformed itself into a championship organization. For over 160 years, our team has demonstrated a similar mentality. There are no days off. Our front lines are fortified by people who sacrifice individuality for the team. Our shelves are also stocked with the best quality products and ingredients. Our team members know their roles. We're proud to do our jobs. Shaw's, the official supermarket of the 6-time champion New England Patriots.
My Caleb sofa and love seat. With Bob's discount, you get both pieces for just $7.99.
$7.99? Are you joking?
Do I look like I'm joking?
Yes, you look like you're joking.
I'm serious.
Cool.
Get Bob's discount! We're changing the way we run with contactless ordering, drive-thrus, curbside pickup, and delivery. So you can still get your favorites, and the only thing you have to touch is your phone. Order on the Dunkin' app. America runs on Dunkin'.
In New England, we are resilient. It takes hard work to earn respect. Sometimes